pleasure to speak with you all. I'm a new convert to the Ginger Snaps fandom. I only just saw it this past week, and I can say the film definitely holds up well. And John, I love the opening credit scenes to Ginger Snaps so much. Where did the idea of the death recreations and having the film kind of kick off with that fun, gory imagery come from? Because it really tells you everything you need to know about those characters too.
Well, you know what? Honestly, I think that probably the death obsessed teenage stuff came from Karen Walton, the writer. She loved a movie called Harold and Maude, and I think that stuff came from there. But the concept of like doing a slideshow, a death slideshow, as the opening credit sequence, I was very inspired. I remember being very inspired by the opening credits of Dead Ringers, the David Cronenberg movie, which, there's a lot of David Cronenberg in Ginger Snaps. And I really just really admired that opening credit sequence. And I thought, wow, this would be hilarious if we had a death slideshow along with this very like haunting sort of orchestral music. And that was, yeah, that's kind of how that happened. And we shot this. I remember we shot that all that stuff. We shot it on a prep day, so we hadn't even started filming the movie yet. And that was probably our first day where we were all together, like putting on costumes and like putting fake guts on Katie and like putting the lawnmower. Like it was a gas. It was a great first day where we all just like were in love with each other and just had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that has to be a great bonding exercise with just doing all those different poses and all that. And Emily, Bridget has to be the responsible sister due to what happens, despite being the younger sister in the film. What did you like most about that kind of switch in just personality and just kind of having to really step up to the situation for the character?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the first time I had played a character where I really got to experience like an arc, a little bit of a change. And so, but it's not really, I think, until the end of the movie that she kind of that Bridget kind of comes into her own. She's very much like under the shadow of her sister, but like you say, like she is the one who's trying to hold everything together. And she has that very strong like conscience, even though she's definitely a social critic. She also has like a massive super ego, which I think like there's this sort of like weird prudish element about her, like her gothic sensibility. And yeah, I think that it was just like super fulfilling for me to get to play like a character who like experienced that full arc and that full like storyline.
Yeah, it's a wonderful arc, and Catherine Ginger undergoes, quite the transformation, not just visually with the really stellar prosthetics and practical effects, but also personality wise. How was it making sure that you were kind of able to match the story with how Ginger acts over time and really change up your performance? Because we get to see a lot of range from you in this film.
Well, I think that's where a great director comes in because they have the overall vision and they have the arc in their head and they can really, manipulate where in the story you are feeling certain things and making sure that you stay on track. You're not just getting like wild all the time, just like one note of wildness. But yeah, I think the makeup really, really helped me just in like stage one, stage two, stage three transformation. It's any character I play, as soon as I get the wardrobe on and the makeup and the hair, that's really when I feel like I have stepped into their shoes. And so to have that, hours long process in each stage of the makeup really kind of just helped me like settle into it. And then, John there to guide where we are. It kind of fell into place and it felt pretty natural at times, most of the time, yeah.
I liked it when you were
And
getting wild. It
Yeah,
happened a lot.
release the beast.
Yeah.
And John, you worked with editor Brett Sullivan to make it a really tight film, and there's over 20 minutes of deleted scenes, which are really strong and fun to watch. Can you speak to being not being precious with those scenes and willing to let them go to like if for the benefit of the film just being tightly paced? Because some directors don't want to do that. When there's a good scene, they want to keep it in. So how was it kind of just letting go and making sure the art kind of came first?
It's a process. It really is. Like, everything is important when, you're writing it and you're shooting, and everything is just so important. And even when you get the first cuts together, but it's a process of like letting go because you start to see where things are slow. You start to see things like all those things that you thought were important in the script now actually kind of seeing it all together, it's not as important. But it's hard. I'm not saying it isn't hard because it's like when you are authoring something, it is very difficult to edit your own stuff. And so that's why, Brett was, I had a lot of people around me, opinions that I trust. And Brett was a really good editor. And, eventually you just kind of go, this movie's too fucking long. And we gotta make it shorter. And then you look at the things, where is the fat? And where are the things that are slowing things down? And where are we being redundant? And I'm just happy that all that stuff we shot, you can see in the deleted scenes because it's cool that like, and you can see where it belongs in the movie. I went through those deleted scenes actually just this afternoon and was just like, oh my God, I
Me
forgot we did
too.
that.
Me too.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, there's some great scenes. And Emily, you and Katie were both, Catherine were both quite young when you filmed this. Are there any aspects of the script that have just really impressed you as you've, had have sat with it for decades and just how it has aged? What aspects of the script really have resonated with you over time?
Um, I think like when I was definitely like although I was young, I was actually already in my 20s and I was a university student and I was a women's studies major. So in terms of like the themes, I think I was pretty like aware of those at the time. But I think what kind of changed for me was like I was very introverted and I was very ambivalent about just like communication. And it's just like looking back seems strange to me that I was even like doing acting because I was the kind of person who had trouble like leaving the house and talking to people. Um, so yeah, what's changed for me now is like I just think I'm so glad that I had that opportunity and that like I got to tell that story because it turned out to have like connected with so many people. And now I have fans that come up to me and say like, yeah, you were the first time like I saw someone who was like me on screen. And that's just such a validating experience. It's like a hug for me back in time. Like the me that I was back then is like getting a hug from the future. It's really weird. Yeah.
I love
That's
that.
beautifully
I
put.
love that. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for your time. I really love the film, and I'm really glad this is getting such a nice 4K release because it really deserves it. So,
Yeah.
congrats to you on the film.
Thank you so
Just
Thank
much,
you.
Tyler.